just because we call ourselves spiritual, actually we are kind of separate ourselves. Versus maybe people are just living where they are. They're being very spiritual. They are enjoying their human experience because we are in the human body. I always say I am living in a 3D life with my 5D mentality.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am your host, my name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. Today on the show we have Gina Anayana, the intuitive healer. Welcome to the show, Gina. How are you doing?
Hi world. Thanks for having me here, and it's gonna be a great journey. I can already feel that. So thank you for inviting me on your podcast. Yes. It's my honor.
I am really, really grateful that you agreed to be on the podcast because really your energy is so amazing and I feel like you're so embodied in everything that you preach and everything that you teach and heal that I really am so excited for this journey with you. And I would love you to share how did you prepare for this podcast, because you shared it a moment ago with me. I'm like, oh, we have to record this.
How I prepare for this podcast?
Yes, like how you were doing a little ceremony, calling the guides.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically everything I do. It doesn't matter if I go into a one-on-one healing session or if I go to a certain event, if I start my own podcast or be on other people's podcasts, I always set intention and I always calling my guides because, I'm a human being. This is a vessel, a channel. So anytime I go through the event, I like to call in the highest, the greatest good, because it's not about me. The energy you pick up is the energy I emit through this body, the frequency through my body. It's not about this human me. It's about the energy that I emit outside. So if it's the energy you want to want to know what's the energy about, it's not about this human Gina. Like, this is my name, but this energy has its signature. So when I go on certain podcasts or go to certain events, I want to bring in the frequency, but not my 3D human me. But of course, this frequency need to go through this vessel, right? My voice, right? My body movement. But I try to stay clear to calling in this highest grace good, calling my guides, angels, team of whoever the being they want to channel through me and brings a message for your audience, because you connect me for a reason. We do not know. We will know, because sometimes we do not have to know, but you just feel called. I need to connect this person. I want her to on my podcast. And then later, maybe 3 months later, you have somebody write to you, say, hey, you had this someone, Gina, on your podcast. She said this thing, made me aware of certain things. So I have no idea what outcome will be. That's why, if you know what you're going to say, going to do certain things, you have the pressure. But if you say, hey, universe, take over, I'm open to be a channel to carry through the message you want me to carry, you don't have the pressure. I can just show up very relaxed, say, let's dance, let's do the thing, because it's not me, it's done, So that's, I'll probably share a little bit before we start recording, but that's where I come from.
This is so beautiful, and I really so vibe with it, especially that now I'm in this kind of example situation, as you mentioned, that you never know where things will bring you. Because right now I'm in Madeira, and how I ended up here is just that once upon a time, maybe like 3 years ago, I was with my friends somewhere in Copenhagen, in Denmark, for a concert, and I saw this girl playing music, and it was friend of my friends, and she was really cool, and I connected with her there. And then I was just kind of, fast forward 3 years, I was wondering, like, where should I go? Where should I go next? And then I connect to her. I'm like, hey, I heard that you're in Madeira because it's nice there. And she's like, yeah, we have a room. Come here. Come to us. Come live with us. And here I am, just, I was just living with them. And I met her whole community and playing jam sessions, playing music. And if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't end up in Madeira, because I was like, oh, how to find an apartment, how to do this. But obviously, when I was booking tickets, I was wondering to go to Madeira, and the ticket was on 02022022, and it costed 1144 Polish zlotys. I was like, okay, this is what I gotta do. Of course, the angels are telling me, yes, go for it. And so it's so interesting that, at that point when I met her, I wouldn't know, like, okay, this relationship will bring me to where I'm at right now, and to meet all these people and to explore,
Mm-hmm.
run events here and inspire someone. And yesterday I ran a chakra meditation event when someone
Yes.
was crying because they restored their essence, like the connection to their soul. And I feel like this is just alignment, as you say. This is just when you listen to yourself and to
Yes.
your heart and to your soul, and you are a vessel and you are a channel for the divine to flow through you, the magic can really unfold. But in the moment, you never know
Yes.
that it is magic. Right? In the moment, you're like, you
You're
just
not supposed
are.
to know.
And then yeah, and then
Yes.
it turns out that it's freaking
Mm-hmm.
amazing and everything makes sense the way that it happened, right? So yeah, I just love what you're sharing, because I
Yes.
also really intend to live my life being a vessel for divine power. And of course it's not always like that, because we get triggered, we have issues, whatever challenges. But as much as we can, if we can tune into this divine presence and divine power within
Mm-hmm.
us, because it's really within us, it's not outside of us, it's just we need to be open to it, the more alignment and the
Yes.
more joy really we can experience in our life. So I absolutely love what you're sharing here for the start, because it's really, really
Yes.
important. And I really feel like you are embodied. I feel when you're saying this that it's true. You really are embodying this divine power. So thank you for
Yes,
being a
right? From
beautiful
your heart.
example for all
Yes.
of us.
Yes, you're
this is
welcome. Yes, yes, yes.
this is really amazing. And so the first question that I have to you. Usually, I ask about the journey and or how you've gone through all the things that you're teaching now. But actually, I'm super curious about one specific method that you're practicing, which is Shamangelic Breathwork. So I would love to start from that, because first of
Okay.
all, what does Shamangelic mean? This is like something I'm big question mark in my mind. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question because the name itself is shamangelic, right? Shamanic and also angelic. So this is a combination of divine masculine with the shamanic. Now, shaman, right? Shamanism is a very divine masculine one. You use sound, drum, rattle, and also working on the body. Angelic is more of like, the name of angelic, like, this angels, the sound very soft, divine feminine. So when we work with people, you can't just say, hey, let's go, release it. You cannot hold it any longer, right? But we all have this childhood trauma, like my dad. My dad is very controlling. Like the more he tell me, say, you cannot do this or you do this, I will do opposite way, right? And, when you think about in healing field, that we've been yelled a lot in our childhood. And now some people do need a little bit of push. So they need to give them permission to say, hey, allow it to let it go. They need a little bit of just like a strong, little bit push so they can release it, let it go. But sometime on the other end, we want this divine mother of say, hey, you feel safe, allow yourself to cry, and you are loved, and use like chime, the singing bowl, and use this soft and even body touch, like you don't touch certain part of body, right? Female, you don't touch this part, you don't touch this part, but you can touch their head, like divine mother hold you. Very gentle, right? Make you feel safe and make you feel protected. So shamanic breath work is a breath work. So you use breathing to get to the what we call trance state to access your subconscious. But use both divine masculine way and divine feminine way to see where the people at, so I can give them both sides instead of just push them to go, oh, you're too soft. Sometimes if you move into fully divine feminine, sometimes not get to the point. They're like, when people need a push, you gotta give them push. When feel they do not feel safe, you gotta give them a hug. Let's say, hey, touch their hair a little bit. If they have tears, you're gonna put tears on their third eye or their heart center. Right? Those are the different touch of mother and father's love. Divine mother, divine father, or divine masculine, divine feminine. So the shamanic breath work is really incorporated those both sides to intuitively pick up where they at to use certain tools or certain touch to help them to process, to release, right? So I hope this makes sense of what the shamanic breath work means, or what is shamanic like a represent of. But that's a good question, because I usually would explain when we, open the container. Like yesterday, I did the 2 breath work. When I set people down, I was like, okay, ask them whether you guys had a breathwork experience before. If you had, I still want to explain what's the differences between this breathwork and other breathwork, and I also want them to invite them to release any expectation of previous experience. Just because you had, even though they had this breathwork, shamangelic breathwork with this time, and next time depends on the group setting. A group setting, you travel with different group, the energy will be different. Then, the whole experience, the ceremony will be different. So just have an open heart. But the concept is the incorporation of divine masculine and divine feminine in the healing space. Yes.
That's really cool. I have not heard this explanation before, so thank you for sharing. And so, when it comes to kind of like technically and practically, how is it different? Is it just the specific type of breathing that brings you to this balance or dance of feminine and masculine, or is it the intention behind it, or how exactly is this different?
So breathing part is like in our practice, there's not too much about breathing. The breathing doesn't matter you use boxing breathing or just when you search breath work, there are probably 20 different types of breath work out there. Now, some breath work, you're sitting there, do breath work, right? You intense breathing for 5 minutes, right? Like they will not go journey. When we talking about shamangelic breath work, is actually you are going to a ceremony that your conscious will leave your body. So it's a ceremony, like your body is laying on the ground. You use the breathing to open the gateway. Now, when we're breathing, you will get to this hyper oxygenated state. When you get to that state, you are leaving your body. You actually traveling in the different dimension, different realm. So that in that state, you can connect with your guides, angels, your past loved ones, whoever's need to come through, you will meet them wherever you subconsciously ready to. It's like when you dream. You never know what you're going to dream, right? Like you go to sleep right now, you access your subconscious, but you know you're going to dream, but you do not know where you're going to, like, and in dream place, you can from like in China to United States, just one flip, you're like, oh, I'm not in this space anymore, right? So dream realm is no space, no time, or you can say all space and all time, because you can travel to any space, anytime. When we do breath work, when you get to that state, use breathing, intense breathing to open this gateway. When you're hyper oxygenated, you are getting to this like dream state, but you're not dreaming. But it's similar because I have to explain. So when I use dream, people can understand where they really at. So you actually leave your body. So it's very important, but your body is still showing me the things. You are still moving, you're crying, or your body tell me that like a certain belly I need to push on because there's anger there. So your consciousness is already traveling out there, but your body is still in 3D. That's why you need a facilitator to help you to release while you're out there releasing, connecting. I'm helping your body to also releasing with you. That's why you are doing inner work. I'm outside to support you. And it's very important that you have safe container, because if you don't feel safe, it's like you go to sleep nighttime. If you know your front door is open, you probably not going to sleep very well, right? It's the same thing if you go to journey without a facilitator around you, you leave your body, you're not going to feel safe. Like people will feel like, oh, where's my body right now? Am I laying down or sit up? Because you are leave your body already. But your physical body is already here. But you have this connection cord. After your journeying, I'm going to still calling you back. You say, hey, do I have your permission to, will you like have this agreement with me that after your journey, you're going to come back, right? Because you have this cord, you need to come back to 3D. So to answer your question is like the divine masculine or divine feminine is just a way of my technique to assist you when you're journeying. So when you're journeying, you do not even know what is divine masculine, divine feminine, because you're all there connecting with your guides, you're releasing, you are seeing things, you're seeing colors, you are in different land, but your body is moving. I need to assist your body to make your body feel safe. And I want to acknowledge your body is like, oh, if your body show me that doesn't feel safe, or if your body showing me that need a little bit, like, shake a little bit. So I will move the energy from people's arm and legs to help them move the energy. And I will open their throat because they might not saying screaming, but people do screaming a lot because you have the energy inside you stored. Like say, if you never been allowed to yell, doesn't mean you do not know how to yell or you do not want to yell. It's because you never allowed to. Now you think about after 20, 30 years, how many things you installed in your sacral, right? Sacral is all the emotions. Now finally in the breath work, I give you permission to release. People screaming. So when they're screaming, their throat, they might be super tight. So I want to give them a little bit of assistance, like open their heart a little bit, open their, throat chakra a little bit, allow themselves, because their body still have feeling, even though your conscious is out there, but your body feeling that, oh, she's assist me. So it will allow the voice to come out. Does that make sense? So you move it. If I would say, okay, shake it, shake it. They can hear me. The body can hear me. So they will do it. They will do it. Shake it, or I will hold their leg, have them push me. So I want them to ground them because I want them to feel the strength, the body they have. So I will do all kinds of things with their body, but they need to trust, right? You need to trust somebody who is sitting you. So this is, the divine masculine, divine feminine is the way how I facilitate them to allow their body fully release. But when they travel, they do not know what's the divine masculine, divine, but they will come out and feel, oh, I feel safe. Whatever you did, I feel that's exactly what I need. When I need a little hug, you give me a hug. When I'm crying, you can help me, like really, help me to put tears on my third eye, my throat. When I really want to release, you give me the permission to release. That's it. So that's it. Just my touch.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. And I have a lot of questions based on that. First of all, why do you put tears on your third eye and on your throat?
Okay, yeah, that's good one. Actually, that's a good one. So our tears is not, sometimes we wipe our tears away, right? It's feel like you are the tears is not necessary, or you feel ashamed that I need to wipe my tears away. But our tears is to me is you are alchemizing whatever inside of you. You come out emotion, you hard feel about it, and then you come to, when you cry, right? You feel this feeling from your stomach to your heart, and you start crying from your throat. You make noise and you cry. This is to me, this is gold. This is alchemize. You alchemize the emotion inside your body. That's not a waste. That's gold. So I want to anoint people's third eye to use your own, this alchemize, this pure gold. I want to put on your third eye to allow yourself to see the truth, because now you feel the emotion inside you. Open your heart, allow yourself to release it, and I'll put it on your third eye. I want to open your third eye because you see the truth. You allow yourself to see what you have. That's courage. And I also want to put that on their heart center or throat. Is I want to encourage them. Yes, yeah, beautiful. You allow yourself to feel it, and then tears here. I want to honor you. I want you to even give you more permission to release, to speak the truth. I want to give you more permission to open your heart center. So that's why I do, the tears. It's not like, oh, get tissue, wipe it away, throw away. No, that's yours. I'm gonna give back to you. Give back to you. That's yours, right? Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that. I'm gonna practice it from now on, because usually I just got, I just went with this subconscious program of like, okay, tears, okay, wipe it. But actually, you're right. It's a part of us in a way, so we can utilize it. If it's kind of like period blood, we can utilize it. We can do
Yes.
something about it, and it's not a waste. It's
Yes.
actually a beautiful thing that our body produces, as any other really thing that we produce. So thank you for sharing that. This is really great. And I also have a question,
Mm.
because I kind of feel like some people might get a little bit scared of this kind of breath work, where you say, okay, we're going to travel into the dimensions and the body will stay and I'm going to keep you safe. So what would you say to these people that are like, oh, maybe I'm not going to try it because it's like so scary to go into all these dimensions and I don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and what if the silver cord breaks, and then I'm going to just fly away, and so what would you say to these people?
Yeah, actually, I just perfect the question, because actually I had a sister yesterday. She had literally, she told me, she's like, Gina, I usually don't like to let go of control. She's like, I already know. This is my common theme of I don't like to let go of control. She looked at me. She's like, what are we going to do? I look at her. I was like, you know that your body knows what to do, right? I was like, I would suggest you to trust your body. And if you really cannot let yourself go, you will not go, and it's okay. Because why? A lot of time we go into a ceremony, right? Now, sometimes you go ceremony, you're like all love and light, very gentle. You have beautiful journey. Now, sometimes you go into a ceremony, you have this resistance. But the point is, you are there, and you're gonna trust it. What, because you're already here. So I see your concern, but you also, I want people to aware that if you choose to be here, guess what? Guess something bigger than you called you to be here. And I want you to trust your body. I see what your mind is saying, but I also want to trust your own body. If to a certain point your body doesn't want to go, then at least you did your best. If you go in, once you start breathing, sometimes you don't even know you're already gone. So I was like, hey, let's trust your body a little bit. Thanks for sharing this with me. I acknowledge that. But let's see. Now, she went in. I was like, when she, this whole ceremony was beautiful. Actually, I was, you are the person actually really easy to work with. It's just your mind was thinking about, lose control safe, because depends on what you're going through in the past. You might don't feel safe. But to a certain point, because I know my energy, it wise is the holder. I can ground people. And I think that she trusts my energy. And I think it's not, she trusts it's her body is trust my frequency. So actually she's very easy to work with. She went in. I was like, when she came out, our sister, I was like, if you didn't tell me you have this resistance, I didn't notice a thing. Your body seems very open. You worked with me. I went there. She was all sweating. She's screaming. She's releasing. And I, to ground her, I have her leg pushed on my waist because I wanted her to feel how powerful she is, how strong she is. And she's perfect. She went out. She's like, Gina. She started laughing. She's like, wow, this is powerful. I was like, it's not me powerful. It's you powerful. Your body knows what to do. I was like, I know what you're saying in your mind, but I want to trust your body, and I want to invite you to trust your body. So it's perfect as this just happened yesterday. So if people come to me, I will look into their eyes and say, hey, sweetheart, dear love, if you are here, there's something medicine for you to release, for you to like take right from this ceremony, and you're gonna trust wherever. If you stop in the middle, you are a brave soul. You are here to willing to do the work is already brave enough. So do not have any expectation, any outcome. Release that to great whoever you want to call, creator, God, whoever it is. Release that. Just fully trust in. If you stop in the middle, I still honor you. But you haven't even go in yet. I want you to try your best. That's it. Usually they say, oh, you see me? You're not laughing at me? No, I'm not. Why would I? You are here. I honor you. Like, you are so damn brave to come here, right? To journey with me. Yes.
Mhm. So do you feel like if someone has a little bit of resistance and maybe feel fear of losing control, do you feel like it can gradually, they can get more and more comfortable? The more they do it, the more and more comfortable and the deeper they can go?
It's the how deep you go is not from your mind. Like, sometimes you think this thing doesn't work and you go so deep. Sometimes you're like, I won't go deep, because you have expectation. It's all about expectation. So deep or not, I would say is really depends on where your subconscious wants you to receive certain things. Sometimes you just go a certain way is exactly what you needed, because you want bring into your awareness is, are you in your own way? Right? Why you didn't go deep is, are you in your own way, or are you have some sort of things in your own way? Then I want them to talk about. You see, Shamangelic Breathwork is the one of the practice that I offer, or one of the service I offer. Now, usually when they come out, I have them to share a little bit. And if they aware why they couldn't go deep enough, let's say I really don't feel safe, then I will use Zeta healing, which is my another healing modality, to really dive into what happened way back before, maybe in your childhood, maybe in your past life, maybe in your ancestor that had this traumatic experience that don't feel safe, that now is showing in your life right now, that you usually do not feel safe in the public, or you need to be very aware of like, where's my surrounding, you right? It's showing in your life. So it's not the more they do it, the more they will do it. It's like if you aware that there, it has certain certain experience you need to address in your past. Like even right now, like the resistance have two different scenarios. Okay, so it's just like you go running, right? It doesn't matter how many times you run. The resistant part is you put your shoes on, open the door. Like it doesn't matter how many times I do breath work, I still have the resistance that's like I do not want to do it, because you really have to push through this first 5 minutes. It's just first 1 mile of your running. Doesn't matter how good at you're running every day. When your first quarter mile or first mile, your body is have this natural resistance. This is the resistance that actually you want to face it anyway. It's just like it happens. But the other one's resistance is when your ego really chime in, really don't feel safe. That's the resistance that I would have them to work on with me one-on-one session in theta healing, because I know that certain history happened in your childhood or in way back in genetically or history level that in your way stop you. So those are two different type of we can work on. So I hope that
And I
ask
can
you
really
and
relate
like
to what
answer
you're
your question.
saying.
Yeah.
I can really, really relate to what you're saying, because I feel like I feel this first type of resistance before any psychedelic experience. It's like, and it doesn't matter how many times I do it. I know that the plant, for example,
Yes.
will take me wherever it wants to take me. So there is always this kind of like ego, kind of fear or whatever else resistance. Like,
Yes.
oh, am I really gonna do this? Am I really gonna go there? And but yeah, I guess I was also
Yes.
relating to this second resistance that you mentioned, because what I do, I also work with childhood traumas and with emotional release in general. And I found even
Mm-hmm.
within myself and within other people that the more we step into childhood traumas, the deeper they can go, because they're more familiar with the feeling. So it's like, okay, maybe at first I can allow myself to just feel 10% of the fear, because my body is so scared of this fear that I'm not going to go as deeply as I
Mm-hmm.
possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a few sessions, 5, 10, million, then you're like, yeah, okay, fear, yeah, I'm just gonna allow it to be, and I'm gonna shake it off, and I'm kind of fine with it.
Yes.
I'm friends with it, right? But at the beginning, it's like, no, it's like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, this is scary to go into this feeling. So I guess, yeah, we were considering these two parts of resistance. But yeah, I feel you with this first type, like because you never know where you're gonna journey, and
Yes.
it might be a journey that you don't expect.
Exactly.
And I think that
Yes.
ego is like, oh, if I
Mm-hmm.
cannot expect it, if I cannot put it in box,
Unknown. Yes.
then
Fear of
oh my
unknown.
God,
Yeah.
like what is gonna happen, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yes. You got it.
Yeah, it's freaking crazy, but I freaking love this, because this is like the biggest exploration of the universe you can do, because you never know what you're going to experience. And I am a very variety driven person, so I love this stuff, and I know that not everyone does, but I feel like you need to also find comfort in the discomfort, even if you're doing something. And also really,
Yes.
I feel like for me, when I do something like that, when I go against the resistance, that I'm like scared of doing something, or I'm like unsure how it's going to go, if I actually go through it, I feel so much more confident, so much more empowered in myself, so much more like, oh yes, I did it,
Yes.
right? Same with like cold therapy for me. For example, today I went into the water, and for me it's freaking cold in here. It's not
Yes.
like it's
Yes.
easy to do, but afterwards I'm like, okay, I did it. So I guess with the breath work is the same. It's like, okay, maybe you might be a little nervous before you start, but then the feeling that you did it is going to be so amazing and so rewarding that it's worth it for sure.
Yes. Yes. The totally can resonate that. Like I don't like cold. Like I'm in Michigan, right? It's wintertime in Michigan is snow, we have snow for winter for 5 months. So, and I don't like cold. And when we do cold plunge, right? Like first time I did a cold plunge, that time I haven't really practiced my breath work yet. So my body is like, of course, you are so close. I was in probably just 30 seconds. I hate it. I hate it because I was not open. I fully resist that. I don't like it. Why I do it? And I was cursing, swearing the whole time. I usually don't say F word ever. So if any time you want to hear me say F word, probably is in cold plunge before. Now, because I practice breath work now, right? One time, my body told me, say, hey, if you want to go in cold now, you better do some couple rounds of breath work. I didn't know where they come from, so I started doing a little bit breath work. And when I went in, I stayed it for 17 minutes. And my body is
No.
literally to the point it creates this warm bubble around me that I can stay in as long as I want to. But when you do cold therapy or cold plunge, like after 10 minutes doesn't really have any more of like medical, like a healing part of things. It's just you can stay longer. But first 5 minutes to 10, 3 to 5 minutes is really, really benefit, for your body. So, but I realized when you use breath work, you really do a way that I practice, you really create this warm bubble around you. Then when you're in, you actually, your body is like protect you, kind of sealed. I don't want to say sealed because you still can feel the water's coldness, but your body itself generated this heat and it kind of like interact with the cold, also like intertwine. It's very interesting, very beautiful. And ever since then, do I still have resistance stepping in the cold water? Hell yes. I don't want to. My body is like, why you want to do that again? But once I do breath will come in after 30 seconds, a minute, I was like, okay, let's see how long I can stay this time. And like I'm more easy to, and I close my eye, do a couple round of breath work, and I open my eyes and start talking. I'm like, I'm good. So it's really kind of like knowing where you're at, and also use connect with your body, because our body is so smart. Our body is just so smart and so intelligent and so powerful that I think we underestimated of this human body. Everybody want to be 5D. Everybody want to leave the body, go traveling, spiritual thing. But I was like, I do that too. I mean, that's what I practice. You need to go, traveling, do the things. But I was like, I love my body. I love this 3D experience. How cool is that? I can smell, touch, kiss somebody, So it's kind of like I honor my human experience. Are you still
Yeah.
there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear
Okay.
me? I am. I'm just really into what
Yes,
you're
I can
saying
hear
because
you, but your camera kind of.
I'm really feeling everything you
Mhm.
say. Yeah, maybe if the connection is a little bit breaking, that's okay. It's still recorded. So yeah, I really, really vibe with what you're saying, because at the beginning of my spiritual development, the, let's say, guide that I've had, he was like, yeah, this body, this human experience is not as cool, like spiritual experience is cool and whatever. And I discovered like I freaking love experiencing earth and just experiencing tastes and experiences and just like travels. And I was just saying that at the beginning of my spiritual development, I had this guide, let's say, that was like all about the spirit world and only spirit world, and the human body is like nothing. And I feel like I feel the opposite. I feel like I am so happy being a human,
Yes.
taste things, travel, do things with my body, and
Yes.
even breathe, dance, sing. Like you can do
Yes.
so much. And I feel like it's not less spiritual to sing and to eat food and to do everything with your body as it is to meditate and to travel in other dimensions. I
Yes.
mean, it is the wholeness of the experience that is the spirit, right? Because spirit is everything. It's not like, oh, this thing is spiritual and this is not. It's like there is no such thing. And
Hmm.
what does it even mean to be spiritual? Sometimes
Exactly.
I even laugh at this whole like idea. What is not spiritual, really? It's
Exactly.
pretty funny
Yes.
when we think about it, because spirit is in everything.
Yes. When we say, when we point out other people is not spiritual, actually we are the person not being spiritual. Because if you really think that you are spiritual and everything is spiritual, there's no separation. So the same thing as when people say, "Oh, this person is asleep," like in spiritual community, right? We need to awake people. We need to wake people up. We need to wake people up. Guess what? You are the people. You are the one need to wake up. If you think everybody is asleep, does that make sense? It's like if we cannot accept where people is at, where they at, as perfectly where they at, is we are not being wake up because we are in a sleep state. Think everybody need to be the same way as you are is asleep. So, just because we call ourselves spiritual, actually we are kind of separate ourselves versus maybe people are just living where they are, they're being very spiritual. They are enjoying their human experience because we are in the human body. I always say I am living in a 3D life with my 5D mentality. What does that mean is I really enjoy every single thing that come into my life, material thing. I always tell people, what's wrong with me to want to have a Tesla? I want to enjoy the experience of what it feels like to drive the Tesla. I want to what it feels like to have beautiful experience and have sex, right? The human desire. It's beautiful. It's sacred union. There's nothing wrong with that. And but the thing is that that's why I say 3D body living with 5D mentality is when you 5D, you understand everything is connected. You understand things comes and goes. You understand once our start saying this thing, which means going to be end. Death is in every single second and moment. What I said is said. Like once I open my mouth, say the word, this word is not going to be repeated anymore because it's done. Right? So if we really understand that you're not going to have same exactly experience ever again, why we cannot be present 100%, be cherished for what you have. And when it leaves, you see, once we start this podcast, which means the podcast is going to be end. Once we start, we have end. We are living in this duality. You cannot bypass this. And being out of body, a lot of time being spiritual out of body, you actually bypass your 3D experience is not being spiritual, actually, if you would really talk about that. But if I judge them, then I'm not being spiritual. But I see that I accept what the people is doing because they choose to do. But come back to me is that what I choose to do is my truth. I choose to live in this 3D body, want to have certain things in my life because I want to have experience, but I don't have attachment. I want to drive Tesla, but if I don't get it, I don't get it. If I, matter of fact, so interesting, when I brought up this thing and one friend, he's a car salesperson. And I was like, you car salesperson? He's like, yeah, I've been in the industry for 30 years. And I was, do you have Tesla? He's like, no, actually we don't have, but if we ever have, come in, I will let you to drive for the weekend. I was like, beautiful. I was like, I got to experience it. Maybe I don't like it after I drive the thing. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. No, I cannot perceive myself whether I like it or do not like it. But at least if I sit in, I drive later experience. Maybe I was like, this is cool, but it's not for me. Maybe I will come back to my mom van. Who knows, right? So it's called attachment. I'm not attached to the Tesla, the brand. I want to experience that. And after I experience that, I release. If it's not meant for me, it will not be. Just like a relationship. You be in a relationship with somebody, you love this person, but we always say, you are mine, I'm yours. But excuse me, I'm not yours, you are not mine. Like really clear is like, you are not even yours, by the way. Like seriously, right? When you leave your body, you don't take a thing. So when I realize my body even not mine, when I cannot take away, how can I claim that you are mine? But if you choose to be with me for a certain period of time, when we energy align, let's be each other's boo. But when you one day wake up and say, hey, Gina, I just feel like the energy just somehow doesn't align, and I feel like I want to, if I'm interested in this person, I'll say, okay, thanks for letting me know this. Let's wrap up our chapter so I will give you blessing to move on to next relationship if that's what you're called to, right? But it's so hard to do that in real life. In real life, it's like when you get together, you are mine. But when you're not together, you from the lover to really hate each other, to be angry with each other, or not even want to see each other. I think that's kind of like really sad in the real life. Have this attachment. You have to be mine. I have to be yours. We are not. We cherish the moment we being together, but not claim that the ownership of yours and mine. But I will be responsible, take my ownership for the choice I made, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I agree with you that we are not each other's in a way, but I feel like when people say it, they just really miss this feeling of ownership, which is like a safe containment. For example, for the feminine energy to feel like she is his, right? It's kind of like a safe container and containment that, and like, yeah, energetically, it feels good to feel owned sometimes in a healthy way. But really, the truth is that we are never owning anyone or anything. It's just coming and going to us based on our life experience. And so I really, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, based on what you said before about attachments, because I feel like, especially at the beginning of the spiritual
Mm-hmm.
journey, for a lot of people, they have this willingness to wake everyone up, as you said, right? And there
Yes.
is this like, okay, I'm spiritual, they are not, but I really want them to be spiritual. I really want them to know meditation and know these other realms of my reality, and of what I have experienced. And I've been there when I after my spiritual awakening, I was like, oh my god, I want to share this with everyone. I want to have all my friends and family go into this world. And of course now pretty
Yes.
much most of them did, but because slowly I introduced a lot of things to them, and most of them really dive deep into it. Even my mom, last year I ran a ceremony for her, and so that's a win of my life, to do it with my mom and my stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I feel like it's really hard for some people to let go of this attachment, especially I think with the closest friends and family, because we really want to be understood for our beliefs, for how we are in this world, for how we express ourselves, and for our spiritual self as well. And sometimes there are
Yes.
family members that will never accept it and will never really understand, right? Like I have my
Yeah.
grandma, for example, like she's probably not gonna get what I'm saying, and she's trying, and she maybe
Mm-hmm.
accepts some things, right? But she's probably not gonna
Yes.
experience or understand me on a deep level. And I really want to ask you, like, what do you feel like is the way to release this attachment, to have the people that are closest to us understand us and understand us on the spirit level, and not to want them all to wake up, because it's pretty much impossible for us to sometimes change
Mm-hmm.
someone, because if they are not open for change, if they are not open to experiencing it, it's not going to happen. So what would be your
Mm-hmm.
advice to these people who struggle with it?
You see, the question is, I do not feel they are struggle. I think we are struggle for them to not see it. Is that true? Like they are living a mundane life. They chose. Everybody have free will. Everybody choose the path they want to be, and we are the person actually not okay for their what do they choose. They are actually don't give a shit of what do we choose. If they come to you, let's say the scenario is like, like your grandma, right? Like she doesn't accept, but what you're doing that is actually probably it doesn't really bother her. But if it really bother her, I had people really bothered them. When I going through spiritual awakening, they will send the questions like, "Oh, who is your God?" Stuff like that. Are you still have God in your heart? So is that scenario is when people are bothered by our spirituality, and in that moment, the best way is, when you engage with this energy, you are actually lower your frequency. So they are have free will to express where they at. Now that's their karma. But if you engage with them, you become your karma. So if you really being spiritual, if you really understand where people's at, you first of all, you have to accept where they at. So you also accept what they say to you without being triggered. But if you get triggered, which means you still have work to do around that. So to me, when I sit with that question, and I was like, I do not need to explain to you what is my God, because if I connect with my God, I have this connection with Him, and I will embody this energy by not. I'm embody the energy instead of talking to other people to accept where I'm at. I'm gonna just be the energy. Instead, I want you to see what I'm becoming. I don't need you to see what I'm becoming. If you can feel about later what I'm becoming, that's it. My words doesn't even matter. So are we accept them to be themselves, and are you accept to be who you are without the validation? Now this is not attachment, this is a validation. Are we seeking the validation, acceptance from our loved ones to see you where you at? If we still want people to see where we at, the feeling of to be seen, to be heard, we're still looking for external validation. If you really be, you do not need to even want people to see you, to hear you. Of course, people understand. People don't understand you. They will not understand you by you ask them to understand you, because we are putting pressure for other people. The more you want people to see you, the more you want people to understand you, they're not going to see you, understand you. They have resistance, right? But the best way I would say is like accept where they at. And that's a good way I want to kind of share with your audience is like, you see those roses, right, in your garden. Now even though they are on the same rose bushes, but those flowers, they do not bloom at the same time. Is that true? Some maybe already bloom, some like halfway, some have bud, some like a little bit, and some are already bloom, they have fruit on it. So we are your even though you are in family, right? This big family as this big rose bushes, and you are maybe the blooming right here. Maybe there's somebody in your family is really seeing you because they are here. Now, when your mom is started here because she's aligning with you, she's catching up, and then maybe your grandma is like literally not for her lifetime to open. Are we okay for our loved one that's not their time to open in this lifetime? Because you know why? When I was little, or so many people in the little, we will try to open the flower, right? But guess what? When you open the flower, the next day the flower die. Literally. If we force people to open, to accept what you see, you're gonna kill them spiritually. Like they are not ready to open. Okay. So that's helped me to understand when I get little when opening, I was like, why people don't see it is so good, they are asleep, whatever. Then that's why I said it, when you see everybody is sleeping, you are only awakened, then you are the person sleeping. Actually, everybody is awakening because we don't see where people's at. So we accept where they at with love and compassion because they are, first of all, for whatever reason, this fear of seeing that, we need to give love and compassion. And we be the example, be the way shower, because you do not to, the more you accept where they at, they will be curious. It's like, oh, this is different. Why she didn't come to talk to me this way anymore? They will ask the questions. They will feel the changes in your life. If you be that energy, you will draw, you will magnetize people to your life. I mean, now I don't really go people anymore. I go walk out there, sometimes in a restaurant, I would just have my journal, have my wine. People will come talk to me. They on Facebook like you will reach out to me. I didn't say a word. I don't know who you are and who you were at that time, right? You reach out to me. It's the energy. You be yourself. People will drawn to you, and that's the manifestation, law of attraction. We don't go get people. People come to drawn to you. So I think I went a little bit far away, but I think that's a lot of people have this, especially they cannot get over with their loved ones, right? Like their family and friends, because they want them on board on this ship, but they are not meant to. Their timing is not divine timing, is not ready yet. And can we hold a space and show them by being your own frequency and allow them to see, oh, actually it's beautiful. She is different. I want to know what she's doing. Get them curious, get them to come to ask you. Then you can share your experience by saying, hey, this is what I do. If you feel called to, welcome to join me. I will maybe share this practice I do, share this meditation I do, or share this event with you to see how you feel about it. Hold the container, hold the space to allow them to experience the things that you went through. I think that would be probably the way I would suggest it from my own practice, own experience.
Amazing. I freaking love it. And I agree with everything you said. Plus, I would add to this, like, if you still feel like you need to be understood and you need to seek approval, just go to your childhood and see what happened to make you feel like this, to make you seek for this approval and this, attachment to making someone understand you in a way that you want to be understood. And so, yeah, that's beautiful what you shared. But yeah, it's really beautiful what you shared. And I feel like really, if we still need this approval, need this love, need this acceptance, we just need to go through the trigger, go to childhood trauma, release it there, and then we no longer are attached to the outcome of them understanding us or them, doing anything really. Because like, if we understand that it's an evolution of the soul and everyone has exactly what they asked for and exactly what they wanted to create
Yes.
with their soul in this life, then we're like, ah, yeah, okay, so maybe this experience is necessary for this person. This maybe not knowing these higher spiritual truths, it's actually the best right now to work through some karma or to
Yes.
experience something else than they have experienced before, or whatever else it is. We never know the greater plan of why
Mm-hmm.
people are how they are. And so for us, with our lower mind, let's say, to be like, okay, you do this, you do that, it just doesn't make any sense really
Exactly.
when I think about it. And for some people it actually takes time. Like for my brother, to open up, to have like a ceremony with me, it took him a few years, but it was perfect because he's been hearing all about these crazy things that I've been experiencing on all these psychedelics and meditation and whatever.
Yeah.
And then when the time was right, he was like, okay, I'm ready now, I want to go into this, like, let's do a ceremony. And now he's all in it, and I'm just so grateful because I didn't even have to do anything. As you said, I was just an example, and everyone around me was just like, oh, she's actually more happy, she's less stressed, or what did she do, right? And then
Yes.
people are curious rather than you're like, be pushing anything on them. And so
Mm-hmm.
I completely 100% understand and agree with you on this one. And I have one more question
Yes.
to you about the holographic sound healing, because I don't know what holographic sound healing means. So I would love you to talk a little bit
Okay.
about it. Why holographic, and what does it mean in this
Uh-huh.
like area of sound healing?
Yeah. So now sound healing, we know sound healing, right? Use sound frequency. So holographic sound healing is when I try to want to talk as more people can understand is we are not separate, right? We are living in this 3D life, we so-called matrix is a big holographic big thing. You create your own reality. Like your world and my world is totally different. Depends on how you perceive the world. So from the 3D wise, we all know the Earth, there's the planet and stuff like that. We all have a basic agreement of how the universe look like. But you will be surprised. Everybody's universe is different. Everybody's world is different because you interact with different people. I interact with different people. One day we come to in your world and my world have this, like intertwine a little bit because we have our experience together. So I try to kind of lay the foundation of holographic itself. We are living in a holographic world. Now, when you use holographic sound healing, is I basically treat your each body parts as a little hologram. I use sacred geometry, like Metatron's cube. You maybe heard of that. That's the main sacred geometry I would use to treat every, our bubble, each of your chakra, the seven main ones first. And also if you are working on the shoulder, but you have shoulder pain, is not just your shoulder. Your shoulder is a symptom of the energy kind of blocked your divine masculine. You maybe carry on too much things. And you maybe, if you have shoulder pain, you might also have the knee problem as well, because support. If you carry too much things, you doing, you probably don't feel support. So when I do sacred geometry, use sacred geometry to bubble the area that bothers you, are also calling in those associated this aspect that contribute to your shoulder pain. And I want to bubble them, use sacred geometry bubble that are calling them in bubble. It's visualize all the things that kind of like in your energy field that bothered you. I want to focus on this area, but I calling everything in this holographic field, so I can direct my energy, use my sound and toning and with the singing bowl to really working on the energy, because I calling all the energy in this sacred geometry. And the like a Merkaba, which is the like Metatron's cube, you can literally just bubble that, and you want to visualize everything is in the bubble. So I'm working on the energy in this bubble, but also I want to make sure your seven chakra is aligned when I'm working on the specific parts of your body and calling all the associated like issues, problem, and use tuning and chanting. And I will visualize, the whatever, when I bubble is a color, probably with different color in my mind's eye. Use your third eye. When you're doing chanting and toning, the color will change, and you want to have this pure white light. Then that time is the things you are working on is dissipated. They are already healed. So then you will come out and it allows the energy to kind of move through, do an attunement to each chakra. Because if I'm working here, right, your shoulder, the thing is you carry a lot of weight. Why you carry a lot of weight is because you think that's your responsibility to carry the weight. So you might gonna have the reason why you carry a lot of weight, maybe from your heart, maybe solar plexus, you feel you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to be certain things. So when you carry on, you want people to see you. So when people see you, you feel the self-worth, right? So you will align with your solar plexus. So when I work on your shoulder, it's actually I'm working on your solar plexus, also working your throat. Is why if you always carrying on a lot of the this responsibility, maybe you do not know how to ask help. You do not know how to express yourself. So your throat is also have something to work with that, right? So I'm just for example. So when I'm working on certain body parts, I'm actually working on the seven main chakra as well. So after I've taken care of that, I want to make sure each chakra is clear. I do attunement, but I'm all in this visualization in my mind's eye. I can see it, but also you can feel it. If I'm working on your crown chakra, Everything is energy. You can feel the energy is moving around. You might see different things. Your body feel different way. When you come out, you're like, what do you do that? I was like, how do you feel about that? What are some things you felt about that? Because since the healer, I call myself intuitive healer, right? What you're going through, I will feel it in a different way. You might see things, but I feel it. I was like, oh, is that something that you have certain, energy pulling from this and that? We try to kind of like share your experience and my experience for we to understand what we're really working on. So I know you asked a simple question, but this is such a big concept for people to understand, and I hope I make kind of help people to understand what I do. But you really cannot really put the words into the energy work when you never experienced that, because energy is hard to describe. Anytime you try to use words to describe it, it lost the potency of that feeling. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it's our mind and not our experience that tries to explain and put it in some kind of boxes of the words that we already
Yes.
have
Mm-hmm.
that have a meaning that the collective consciousness of humans agreed upon, but it's not really the essence of what we've experienced. And so, on that note, I actually have a question about these sacred geometry symbols because
Mm-hmm.
it's probably also going to be hard to explain with
Mm-hmm.
words.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, Merkaba or Metatron's cube, do they carry a specific energy, or how do you use these two, especially because they are the most known, I think, of all the sacred geometry symbols? What kind of energy do they bring, and how to use them if you want to, for example, use them on yourself?
Yes. Now, very interesting. Like myself right now, I'm here, but every morning, every single day, we call it activation. You are actually place yourself, because Merkaba is two triangles, right? One's up, one's down. There's one's divine feminine, one's divine masculine. So you want to visualize you in this Merkaba, which is in the center. Well, when you in 2D, you see the two triangle, right? But in 3D, 4D, they actually a holographic. It's when it's spinning, it's a sphere, right? You think about the two triangles when they 3D, they're spinning. It's a created sphere, and you are in the sphere. What that does that do is protection. Mainly, a lot of time I use it as protection, protect your own energy, right? Especially you are very empath. A lot of time, end of the day, after you talk to certain people, you're gonna feel tired, you feel drained, you're gonna feel angry if they are angry, right? So I use that a lot of time, and even not just in 3D world. When I go meditation, when I do, traveling out there, doing my thing, in the universe, do my thing, or even in my ceremony, breathwork ceremony, I always would put myself, even though I facilitate it. But I know I'm journeying with them, and I will ask their permission to put their sacred geometry, especially as the Metatron's cube, create their own sphere. So when they go travel, they are protected. And also, they are not taking on any other people's energy, because when you go all there, if you leave it's like you leave your house, your front door is open. Maybe 90% nobody gonna come in, but that 10%, you have no idea who's gonna come in, right? So I want to make sure everybody go all there. Their physical body, I'm guarding it, but their astral body, they have this because because we cannot see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Our imagination is true in different dimension, but not in 3D, right? So when their astral body go out there, I want to have some protection go with them as well. When I send them out, when they go out, I want to send some protection for them. So mainly for protection, I use a lot, but also Metatron's cube is also for healing as well. So a lot of time when this is very deep. So we think about three triangles, but actually our chakra, right? With 7 in our body, but actually there's 12. There's 2 more underneath us, and I think 3 more. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah, 7, 10, 12, 12 of them. And then they not all of them go in same direction. Some of them, they go clockwise, some of them go counterclockwise. So that will creating, depends on how they move, they creating the healing. And so this side, I believe, is the divine feminine, and this side is divine masculine. So when you activate that and use the Merkaba, when you do healing, certain time I want to activate this side, because I'm doing divine masculine healing and this side and divine feminine healing. But my hand probably really like confusing people anyway. But one side is divine masculine and one side is divine feminine. So it depends on what chakra I'm doing. So am I going to activate that one a little bit more and focus on that one? Other one is still spinning, but this one I want them to spinning certain speed. We will call 33 million times speed on a 99 million times speed. But this is very deep of a term wise. But for protection, for healing, mainly for those.
This is amazing. I am so excited to hear about it and to actually check it out by myself. And it's interesting because literally yesterday, a friend of mine asked me, like, so what do I do when I take on all these people's feelings and all these people's emotions? Like, how do I clear this? And I gave him, of course, a few visualizations and a few methods for that. But I feel like this could be a nice addition to visualize Merkaba and Metatron's Cube, and then know that these specific, because it's such a powerful thought form of people who have been using this for ages, right?
Yeah.
And so the
Yes.
thought form of using these specific symbols of sacred geometry have more power because so many people have used it, right? In the same way as like a symbol of a cross has a power because people use it in a specific way, or other symbols. It's a thought form that, people
Yes.
charge up with their thoughts and their feelings. So thank you so much for sharing it. I am
Yes.
super excited to try it out on myself.
Yes.
And we've been talking for quite a long time, longer than I
Yes.
expected today, but I was just so curious about everything you have to share. I could still talk with you for hours, I feel.
I know.
But just
Yes.
one quick question: if people connect with you and have a healing session with you, or look into what you're doing, what's the best way that they can find you?
The quickest way is on Instagram, and my handle is Goddess Intention. Goddess underscore, right? If you search Goddess Intention, you will find me. Or you can find me on Facebook as the Inner Sensory Healing. The Inner Sensory, everything is inner feeling. It's not external. Inner Sensory Healing on Facebook. And if you find me, or on the YouTube channel, every day I post a video to share my teachings, my not just the teachings, realizations. I also do card reading. So I will sometimes do oracle card reading if I feel called to some energy wise to clarify for people are confused what's going on in the world. And if you go on the YouTube, you will see all kinds of video. I probably have around 60, 70 videos there right now. So, and on the Instagram, basically will be like short 1 minute reel, like a message. But if you want to listen to how I relate to the very simple message, you go on my YouTube called Unity Through Diversity, and that's my podcast's name as well. So if people feel called to check the stories that I interview people, right? Maybe if you feel called to, you're welcome to come to my podcast to share your personal journey of how you get from where you were to get where you're at and what you're doing, because we all the light, but we are different frequency of light. We all different ray of the light, that we all have specific frequency and mission and purpose on this planet by being yourself. Not to chase purpose. The passion is not external. It's being yourself is great service for the humanity, for the all. So can find many ways. So feel free to post these links, and if the people want to connect with me, I will.
Amazing.
Yes.
Perfect. And okay, I have one last question. I promise, but I
Yes.
really need to ask it. So you're saying how you're saying all these messages about what's going on. And so right now, well, the war is going on. So what do you feel are the intuitive insights of, and also like advice for people to do? Because I feel like so many people now live in fear and they don't know what's going to happen. And so what is your advice? And maybe if you got some intuitive insights about how it's going to unfold, or what maybe is the purpose of it, because sometimes when we can understand the purpose, it might be easier for us to accept what's going on. So if you'd like to share, I would be super glad.
Yes. So see, myself personally, it's not I don't care what's going on in the world. I do care deeply, energetically. I care everything about the world, because every day I pick up the energy. Sometimes my heart center, sometimes I have anger. I was like, okay, where does this come from? So what the advice for us to living in a more centered, peace, and calm state of our life, right? Is I would suggest you treat the world, what's happening in the world is actually on a small scale, is also inside of us. Now, to help people understand, I want people to visualize or imagine those countries is like family members, right? You have brothers, sisters, you have parents, you have grandparents, you have children. Now, certain country with countries, they are like brothers. they have certain times they don't see each other eye to eye, and they fight, and even though get into the physical fight and hurting people. And as other family member, we are not just going to see this big brother's perspective. We really sometimes need to understand both sides of perspective. Now, for the people very triggered is because they are picking the sides. Whatever the country, you should or you should not, and it takes two to fight. People just don't just go pick on bully people. You heard that, right? If people are bullying people, they might get bullied by people before. Or hurt people. If people are hurting people, which means they got hurt by other people before. So what I'm saying is, like, sometimes I will invite people not to get stuck in one side of a story. Like you said, we never really know what's really going on just because the social media are telling you what's going on. You don't really know, but you do know from your heart is you want to have the peace, carry the peace, love, and unity inside of your heart, and setting the intention to the people there, to set an intention to the universe is like, hold this neutral frequency inside of your heart, because we all know energy is energy. If you have two cups here, if this part I put more, like you turn on the tap, right? Turn on the like water thing. If you want side of tap, you open a little bit more, this cup are gonna fill up faster. Versus the other cup, if you can dripping, this will be slow. So which part of energy you want to invest on? If we, on a personal level, is I do not want to feed the one turning very fast, because I know if I contribute more attention to this cup, you're gonna feel it more, which means gonna go other side. The energy is pulling. There, this good or bad duality. So which side best way for me is like, I know I do not have a full picture of what's really going on, but I do know that I'm not going to add into any bucket by holding the balance of that. If everybody hold a balance, then we have more clarity. Now, a lot of time I feel like on social media, we are feeding the fire when you do not even know what you're feeding. People just get triggered. People just get the anger feeding in. By the way, if you are supporting something by the anger, resentment, hate, you are feeding the bucket that you actually do not want to see, right? So if you are more conscious of putting more of love, peace, unity, we are actually feeding the other side. That things going to shift when the energy the whole world is showing us what we are investing in the energetic wise. And in a certain country, why is this certain country, started it? And just because our brothers sisters fighting is actually related to us, it hurts our energy, right, as well. So the best practice is like, just stay in the center, aware each part, and knowing that they are fighting right now. Then by which side of energy, how you want to invest in your energy, is you are actually dictating what's going to happen in the world right now by anchoring your own energy. If you have more anger, you're going to see more anger. If you have more love, you're going to see more peace. So it's back to what you want to invest in, what you want to pour in that bucket. That's the best advice I could give, literally right now. And fear is not real, but fear is real, so real in your 3D life. The fear of, we have so many different kind of fear. What's the best way to deal with fear is that you acknowledge that. You, by saying, I'm aware that I'm not comfortable, go there. Because when you say I'm aware, you actually telling your ego, is like, hey, I see, I feel you, I see you, and I acknowledge you. So once you're doing that, it's like when you acknowledge certain things, when by the time you're aware that you acknowledge that, actually that fear is not there anymore. Like, I would say the intensity of fear will not be the same as before you're naming it. And how to conquer fear, that's a big topic. I don't think we can get into today, but I would say just by acknowledge that, to honor your body and honor your ego. Say, I see what you feel like it, and if you don't feel like to want to go forward, and honor that, maybe next time you can try and take baby steps. Every time we want to change something, I would suggest people that take baby step. Do not from step 1 to step 12. You don't want to skip this 11 steps, because those 11 steps has lessons, has pearls for you to pick up, have wisdom for you to pick up. But I would say, you know, this time you feel like, you know, you're probably gonna freeze you. You take a baby step, maybe just saying, I'm aware right now. What can I do when I have this awareness? And how can I choose these baby steps to honor myself, to actually be aware, to lean into this fear, to see how your body feel about it, instead of like, I need a complete shift from fear to love. You can slowly anchor the love in, but how can I from completely freak out to what can I do to little bit, move a little bit? It's a practice. And if people come to my healing session, then I will go, because if your conscious mind, when you ask your conscious mind, which only takes the 10% of our conscious this field, you will not, it's like you're freaking out. When you're in this fight flight mode, you will have traumatic response. You will not be in a heart-centered way. So when they come to my healing, I usually have them close their eyes. In the Zeta healing, I bring them to the Zeta brainwave, which is the similar brainwave when you sleep. So it's the most relaxed state. They can still access their subconscious, but they are being with me. In this state, I can go dig deep into their memory system to ask them, like, what's the worst thing could happen if something happened, which is fear, right? Then work from there. But if normally in 3D life, I would just take slow, honor yourself. You don't want to push yourself too hard, because your ego is protecting you. If ego knows that you going to do that, going to kill yourself, your ego will not allow yourself. That's why you can have panic attack. So be gentle on yourself, take it slow.
Wow, this is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like I have nothing to add to it, and I'm gonna leave our audience with what you just said, because
Yes.
it's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thank you so much for your beautiful wisdom. I really feel the divine flowing through you, and the intention of channeling everything was certainly fulfilled, because I really can feel like you're just in the flow. So thank you so much
Yes.
for being with us today, and for your amazing, beautiful, divine
Thank you so
flow.
much. I will see you soon. Okay. Yeah. Keep in touch. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to us today and for tuning in. It was a beautiful, inspiring conversation. I feel so uplifted and so inspired by that, and I really hope that you feel it too. So stay tuned to the next episode, and I'm sending you so much love and peace for you and for the whole world right now.